Coming back with the second perspective, that is real exchange rate. Real exchange rate is a measure of differences in the price level, that is the purchasing power parity model. So in the earlier sessions, we have seen what is a PPP model while valuing a particular currency or determining the value of a particular currency. The real exchange rate is directly dependent or proportional with the measure of difference in price levels in a particular country with respect to a currency. So whatever may be your transaction, whether it means for buying or for selling of a particular currency, your rates of value, your rates of exchanges keeps on changing as per your need and as per your requirements. So the concept of purchasing power parity allows one to estimate what exchange rates can be availed and rates between the two countries would have to be in order to exchange to be on par with the purchasing power of the country's two currencies. So in this way, we can identify and find out what are the various two exchange rates that can be availed and a particular valuation of currency can be done. For example, we have seen in the earlier quotation that the rates of buying a currency and the rates of selling a currency are different at different locations. For example, a particular trader, if he wants to exchange his respective currency, then at this point of time, the buying rate will be much lower and the selling rate will be much higher. For example, take an instance of dollar currency. Now, when he'll be buying a dollar currency, then the buying rate of the particular trader or the particular salesman will be around 79.25, whereas the selling rate of this particular same currency, dollar currency, will be around 81 or 82 rupees per dollar. So in this way, there is a gap or there is a certain differentiation for a compensation or a commission purpose in which the real exchange needs to be identified. The real exchange rate depends on the purchasing power parity model. So purchasing power parity model, it gives you an understanding about what currency that you are looking for, how much valuation that you need, and what is the amount of you are looking for an exchange purpose. So in this way, the currency transaction needs to be identified and accordingly, the valuation of goods and services needs to be ascertained. Under the PPP rate for hypothetical currency convergence, a given amount of one currency has the same purchasing power, whether it is used directly or indirectly with respect to the purchases of a market or of a basket of goods and services in order to convert your certain sum of money into certain transactions. So in this way, what happened at this point of time, we can see that the purchasing power of a particular currency is directly proportional. Now it's proportional with respect to your purchasing amount or the purchasing quantity. So whatever quantity that you are looking for, whatever the amount that you want to get exchanged, it totally depends on the rate of other currency and the basket of currency that you are exchanging for. So if you are exchanging dollar to dollar or dollar to euro, euro to pound, euro to rupee, and in this way, the different rates applies. Earlier, for example, take an instance wherein if you want Great Britain pound, now if you want to purchase Great Britain pound, then at this point of time, the Great Britain pound cannot be purchased directly because the fluctuating or exchange rate transactions is quite complicated at this point of time. So in order to get the Great Britain pound, what you have to do, first thing that is we have to convert our rupee currency into the dollar currency, and then the dollar currency gets converted into GBP, that is Great Britain pound. So in this way, there are two transactions that have been involved. The first transaction, so in this way, there are two transactions that have been involved. The first transaction refers to the exchange of rupee to dollar, and the second transaction is with respect to the exchange of dollar to GBP. So in this way, the two transactions have been available. So it is called as a basket of market. So market basket is a particular concept or an instance wherein your identification of currency, your availability of currency plays an important role, and you have to identify what are the various available market rates and what is the demand and selling capacity, what is the requirement and availability of this particular currency, and based on this particular factors, the exchange rate has been decided of this particular currency. So in this way, there are major two concepts or perspectives with respect to the nominal exchange rate and real exchange rate of a currency. Going next, now come to the general perspective with respect to groceries. Now, the purchasing parity model, it clearly identifies about the PPP with respect to the groceries as such. That is, it helps to determine the real exchange rates in the open market. So, in terms of the open market, for example, purchasing and pineapple. Now, in this particular figure or the graph, you can see a particular woman wants to purchase pineapple. Now, the valuation of pineapple in the open market or in the real market can be same or can be different at different locations. But in terms of currency, it is always same. Now, for example, in terms of real exchange rate, the value of pineapple can be rupees 100 per pineapple in the fruit market. Whereas in terms of Indian currency, you can find it at 100 rupees per pineapple. And if you go at US market, the same pineapple will be available for 1.2 or $1.5, which is equivalent to 100 rupees in India. So in this way, the valuation of goods and services in terms of grosses remains same, and it is not fluctuating very frequently or at a higher scale. The concept now come, let's look at the certain more additional concepts. If all goods were freely traded and foreign and domestic residents purchased the identical baskets of goods, the purchasing power parity would hold for the exchange rate and the price level of two countries, and the real exchange rate would always be equal to 1. So here at this point of time, we can see and identify that if the goods have been freely traded between the countries, and if it is been found out that the purchase of goods are for an identical purpose, then the PPP model will hold a certain picture or a certain scenario wherein the exchange rate and the price level of the countries will differ at every point of time. So the exchange rate and the price value, it is always either greater to 1, equal to 1, or less than 1. So where here we can identify the PPP model, and based on the PPP model, the valuation of goods and services can be identified effectively and fluently. However, since these assumptions are almost never met in the real world, the real exchange rate will be never equal to 1. So here at this point of time, we can identify in real market, the exchange rate of the goods and services is never equal to 1. So in this way, we can identify the differentiation and correlation between the PPP model and identification of the real exchange or the real nominal rate of the real exchange rate that can be identified in terms of currency. Here, with these particular perspectives, we come to a certain end of understanding the real exchange rate and the nominal exchange rate. Now, let's look at the concept of calculating the exchange rate, how a particular exchange rate of currency can be calculated. Imagine there are two currencies, that is, for example, A and B. On the open market, two A's can buy one B. That is, we are taking a certain currency. That is, for example, if it is a dollar and a euro, dollar or rupee and dollar, Japanese pound, or whatever it may be. The nominal exchange rate would be A divided by B, that is A divided by B2, which means that two A's would buy a B. That this exchange rate can also be expressed as B by A is 0.5. So in this way, A by B, which is 2, which means in alternative terms, that is B divided by A is 0.5. So suppose in this example, say it takes 10 A's to buy a specific basket of goods and 15 B's to buy that same basket. So in this way, 2 and 0.5 is having a certain value in terms of the baskets of currency. So in this way, the real rate and the nominal rate can be identified, and we can find out the pricing and the valuation of goods and services that a particular currency can buy for you. The real exchange rate would be A divided by B, that is 1.5 times the price of the basket of goods in B. So in this way, the exchange rates have been calculated, and you can calculate the exchange rates of the different currencies. Now coming with the perspectives of exchange rate policy choices. So what are the various choices that a particular country have in order to determine or in order to calculate and identify their exchange rate policies? When a country decides on an exchange rate regime, it needs to take several important things in account. So what are those particular things? Let's look into in detail. Unfortunately, there is no system that can achieve every possible beneficial outcome. There is just a trade-off, no matter what regime a nation picks up. Below are the few considerations a country needs to make when choosing a regime. So out of these particular three regimes that is made available, a country can go for any one regime to identify their exchange rate policies which they want to adopt or apply. The first is the stage of economic development, the second is the balance of payment, and third is the monetary and fiscal policy. So among these few considerations, the country can adopt any one and choose a regime in order to identify and pick up their valuation of currencies respectively and identify. Now, let's come and look at the first perspective, that is the stage of economic development. In these particular terms of the stage of economic development, a free floating exchange rate increases the foreign exchange volatility, which can be a significant issue for the developing economy. So at this point of time, we need to identify what is the free floating exchange rate regime in which the currency is being given a certain feasibility and comfortability to exchange, and a free float transaction can be obtained at any point of time. So in a free floating exchange rate system, the valuation of currency keeps on changing again and again whenever it is been required, and there is a complete volatility into the market. Developing economies often have the majority of the liabilities denominated in other currencies instead of the local countries. So in terms of the developing economies, what happened? The major liability is being holded in terms of another country's currency and not in the terms of local or the domestic currency. For example, India. Now, India being on perspectives of a developing economy, so the major currency transactions, major holding transactions value will not be in terms of the rupee currency, but maybe in terms of some another currency, either it may be dollar, euro, yen, pound, or whatever it may be taken for an example. In this way, the developing economies are having their major liabilities in terms of another currencies. Businesses and banks in these types of economies can earn their revenue in the local currency, but have to convert it to another currency to pay off their debts. Now, for example, if a particular business or a bank has availed a certain loan from the international market or the foreign exchange market, so their income level, whatever the revenue that can be generated, whatever their profit is generated, it is in terms of local currency, but their payment or their repayment is in terms of their Western currency or foreign currency, and they have to pay their respective debts or liabilities in terms of another currency. So at this point of time, at every stage or every transaction, two currencies are into picture in terms of an economic development. If there is an unexpected depreciation in the local currency value, businesses and banks will find it much more difficult to settle their debts. So at this point of time, whenever there is a certain situation wherein if there is an excessive depreciation or an unexpected situation of depreciation, then the local currency's value, the local currency's business transactions will find it much difficult to settle their values respectively. Now, why it is found difficult? Because in order to convert your currency, you pay a certain sum of commission, you pay a certain sum of charges to the respective trader or the supplier, and in this way you are losing a certain sum of money. This puts the entire economy's financial sector stability in danger. In this way, what happened in terms of your transactions, in terms of your stability, it is always a danger situation wherein there is no flexibility available into the particular market, and always your money keeps on circulating or rotating from one place to another place, one mode to another mode. Let's look at the picture of the developing countries in this particular scenario, wherein the economic development plays an important role. So the developing countries marked in a light blue may prefer a fixed or managed exchange rate to a floating exchange rate. This is because sudden depreciation in the currency value poses a significant threat to the stability of their economy. So here you can see in this particular picture, the countries which are marked in a light blue color are the countries which are in a developing stage, and they lack a certain picture wherein the valuation of currency is quite significant or different from the value of their home currency or domestic currency. Coming to the second model or the second perspectives is with respect to the balance of payment. With respect to the flexible exchange rate serves to adjust the balance of trade. Now, at this point, what we can see and understand that with the help of balance of payments trade, what happened? The balance of payment trade gives you a certain picture with respect to your current account and capital account deficit. Now, either the surplus or deficit that is well available in your current account or capital account, it directly impacts your foreign exchange reserves or transactions. When a trade deficit occurs in an economy with a floating exchange rate, there will be increased demand for the foreign currency, which will increase the price of the foreign currency in terms of the domestic currency. So in terms of a trade deficit to a purpose, and whenever this particular situation arises, what happens? There is a certain situation wherein the demand for the foreign currency will be much higher in terms of the foreign currency, and your domestic currency will not be demanded at a lateral stage or a regular stage. Thus, in turn, it makes the market price of the goods and services of the foreign goods less attractive to the domestic market and decreases the trade deficit. So for these particular concerns at the time being, in order to create a balance of payment situation, in order to settle your respective account of official settlement or capital account or current account, we have to take into consideration that the foreign goods are less attractive, it is less comparable, and the same goods are being sold out, the same goods have been preferred in the domestic market, and your domestic currency is into circulation, which decreases the trade deficit of a particular country. Under the fixed exchange rate system, this automatic rebalancing does not occur. Now, it is a particular situation that we have considered of balance of payment when the particular situation is of a flexible rate system. So there are two types of rate system that we have seen, that is fixed exchange rate system and flexible exchange rate system. In this particular situation, now if a particular situation is arised when the country is following for the fixed exchange rate system, then the above situation of either increasing or decreasing the value of currency, it is not arising. So it only arises only when there is a situation of a flexible exchange rate or a floating exchange rate system in a particular country, and there is a concern of increase in the trade deficit of transactions. Next, third perspective is with respect to the monetary and fiscal policy. A big drawback of adopting a fixed exchange rate is that the country cannot use its monetary or fiscal policy with a free hand. Why? Because it is having a direct relationship and dependency with respect to the central government or the state government or the government treasury into picture. The government has to maintain or control all the transactions with respect to the transactions or circulation of money into the particular economy, and based on the availability of money or terms of valuation in the currency, they have to look for the availability of currency in the home market, that is the domestic market, as well as supplying the currency into the international markets perspectives for foreign exchange purposes. So a big drawback of a fixed exchange rate system is that is founded at this particular point of time. In general terms, the fixed exchange rates are not established by law, but are instead maintained through the government intervention into the market. So it is not desired at a certain point of time that the fixed exchange rate can be system can be maintained. But if a certain system is needed to be required or needed to be implemented, then a proper intervention of the government or systematic approach by the government in which way it can control, it can intervene, and it can control all the prices, factors, and availability of currency needed to be undertaken, and then only the fixed exchange rate system can be implemented and applied. The government does this through the buying and selling of its reserves, adjusting its interest rates, and alternating its fiscal policy. So, how does the government do this and applies the fixed exchange rate system? First thing that they have to look for is for buying and selling of its reserves. So, the government has to look for it. First thing is has to do is to look for its reserves, and based on their availability of reserves with the foreign exchange currency and the domestic currency availability in the local market as well as in the international market, and accordingly the adjustment in the buying and selling needs to be undertaken. Second thing that they have to look for is with respect to the adjusting its interest rate, the interest rate that have been circulated in the market with respect to the banks, with respect to financial institutions, with respect to the availment of loan facility of either the debt that has been raised and the amount of payment of transaction. They have to control on all the interest rate transactions. So the control on the interest rates needs to be maintained, and then only the fixed exchange rate system can be brought into picture, altering its fiscal policy. So at this particular point of time, the change or alterations in the fiscal policy is at most required, wherein which will give a certain platform and a certain position wherein you can change your fiscal policies respectively, and then only the fixed exchange rate system can be applied as per the need and requirement of the country's monetary position. Next perspective is because the government must commit monetary and fiscal tools to maintain the fixed exchange rate of exchange. It cannot use these tools to address other macroeconomic conditions such as price level, employment, and recession resulting from the business cycle. So at this point of time, what a country has to look for, or what the government has to look for, it has to look for the various tools that addresses your macroeconomic conditions also. So at the macro level, at the broader perspective, the price level of the goods and services, the employment opportunities, the recession that may arise, that is, it may be a positive or a negative concern. So all these factors of consideration needed to be taken into consideration, and accordingly, the balance of the business cycle it's needed to be maintained. So in this way, the control on the business cycle, control on the business opportunities, the control on the macroeconomic condition is needed, and then only the government can keep a control on all the transactions and activities. Now coming with the perspectives of the exchange rate system. So what are the various exchange rate system that are into existence or that are into picture? The first concern is one of the key economic decision a nation must make is how to value its currency in comparison to other currencies. So a country has needing is at an utmost need or a requirement to identify that how to value their respective currency in exchange with the other currencies. So at this point of time, the country has to take a wise decision. The government has to take a wise decision while valuing their respective currency about in what way the currency can be valued in terms of one currency to another currency for an exchange for an international transaction perspectives. An exchange rate regime is how a nation manages its currency in terms of their foreign exchange market. So in what way your transaction, in what way your reserves, in what way your availability of currency can be maintained, the government has to look for, the country has to look for, and accordingly the exchange rate transaction is needed to be identified, and then accordingly the rates of the currency is been defined in a particular country or in a particular nation. An exchange rate regime is closely related to the country's monetary policies. So always it is in line with the monetary policy of a particular country, and based on the requirement and the control of the monetary policy in association with the fiscal policy, the rates of these particular transactions have been identified and defined in a particular market. So in the exchange rate regime, there are three basic types of exchange rate regimes that are into picture. The first is the floating exchange rate, second is the fixed exchange rate, and third is the pegged floating exchange rate. Now let's look at the each and every exchange rate regime in detail. Foreign exchange rate regime, the above map of this of the world shows you which countries have adopted which exchange rate regime. Dark green is for free float, neon green is for the managed float, but blue is for currency peg, and red is for the countries that use another country's currency. So in this way, we can see that different currency are being used at different currency of different countries, and in this way, the currency is being adopted and used by different countries in terms of their foreign exchange regime that is into picture. Now let's look at the first perspective, that is the floating exchange rate. The floating exchange rate or a fluctuating exchange rate is a type of exchange rate regime wherein a country's value is allowed to fluctuate according to the foreign exchange market. So depending on the changes in the foreign exchange market, depending on the ups and downs in the economy, depending on the demand and supply factors, the rate of your currency, the value of your currency keeps on changing accordingly as per the market conditions. So it is a concept of a floating exchange rate system wherein the valuation of currency keeps on changing with respect to the foreign exchange market. A currency that uses a floating exchange rate is known as a floating currency. So a currency wherein it is adopted it is adopting a certain policy of a floating exchange rate, then that particular currency is called as a floating currency. The dollar is an example of an floating currency. So in this way, what happened? Why we call it dollar as a floating currency? Because the rate of dollar, the value of dollar keeps on fluctuating, keeps on changing time to time, frequent to frequently, and very often at a several interval. Why? Because at this point of time, at one stage, the price of dollar is 71. At another stage, it becomes 72, 73. Again, it becomes 79, or again, it becomes 65, 68, and it keeps on changing as per the market need, as per the market requirements. So hence, dollar is called as a floating exchange currency. Many economists believe that floating exchange rates are the best possible exchange rate regime because these regimes automatically adjust to the economic circumstances. Yes. So as per the suggestions given by the various economists, it has been suggested that floating exchange rate system is quite suitable and comfortable because it is a best possible alternative in terms of certain automatic adjustments of the transactions rate. So it is automatically adjusting the rates of a particular currency, and we need not to set a certain price for a particular currency. So based on the economic conditions, based on the economic circumstances, based on the market conditions, based on the demand and supply and the availability of currency, it is directly proportional and it is directly linked, and the price of this particular commodity and goods has been identified and set. These regimes enable a country to dampen the impact of shocks and foreign business cycles and to preempt the possibility of having a balance of payment crisis. So at this point of time, it is always giving you a certain pre-assumptions or a certain information with respect to the balance of payment crisis and balance of payment situations also. So in order to handle the different impact of shocks on the trade, impact on foreign currency, impact of business cycles, so a foreign floating exchange rate system helps you to control all these particular factors and keep you a balanced growth at every point of time. However, they also engender the unpredictably as the results of their dynamism. So being a dynamic in nature, their currency value keeps on changing, their pricing, the valuation strategy keeps on changing, and hence the exchange rate system of floating exchange rate is said to be quite acceptable in nature. Now let's look at this second perspective, that is the fixed exchange rate system. A fixed exchange rate system or a pegged exchange rate system is a currency system in which the government try to maintain a currency value that is constant against a specific currency or goods. So in this way, what we see, there is a major involvement or a certain concern wherein the government intervenes in this particular market and they try to set the price of this particular currency that is into circulation. So here at this point of time, we can see that the involvement, the intervention of government is into picture, and the government sets the price of these particular goods and services that is into circulation and rotation. So depending on the demand and supply, depending on the availability and goods that have been demanded, the government intervenes into the international market or the currency market and decides the price of this commodity or the currency that is needed in circulation. In a fixed exchange rate system, a country's government decides the worth of its currency in terms of either a fixed weight of an asset, another currency, or a basket of other currency. So in this way, what is the proposition or value of denomination for setting a price? The government chooses any one option with respect to the floating rate or a fixed rate or a value of an asset or a denomination or a base price of some other currency or a basket of other currency. So based on some other perspectives, the valuation or the price of the currency has been set and a fixed exchange rate system is adopted. The central bank of a country remains committed to, at all times to buy and sell its currency at a fixed price. So in this concern, if there is a proper intervention of the government, so at this point of time, there is a direct involvement of the central bank of a particular country. The central bank has to come forward and intervene into the currency market or the foreign exchange market and look for the availability of currency, in which way it can be made available, the rates can be fulfilled, the rates can be identified, and accordingly, a fixed exchange rate can be provided to the respective traders and vendors who are dealing with these respective transactions. Next perspective, to ensure that a currency will maintain a pegged value or a floating exchange rate or a fixed exchange rate, what one has to look for? Then one has to look for the reserves of maintaining foreign currencies of either in terms of foreign currency or the reserves in terms of gold perspective. So both the currencies perspective with respect to the reserves of foreign currency in terms of dollar or euros or in terms of your gold reserves also needed to be maintained at every point of time. They can sell these reserves in order to intervene in the foreign exchange market to make up the excess demand or take up excess supply of the country's currency. So in order to maintain the balance between the demand and supply of the currency, they have to look for the availability of currency and intervene into the foreign exchange market reserves also. So a proper reserves of the respective or the desired currency needed to be maintained. And if the desired reserve cannot be maintained, then the reserves of the currency with respect to the proposition of gold reserves also needed to be maintained. The most famous fixed rate system is the gold standard, wherein a unit of currency is pegged to a specific measures of gold. So in this way, earlier when a scenario of 1980s and 1990s, there was a system of gold standard. In this situation, what used to happen that at a particular point of time, if you want to apply a fixed exchange rate system, then your valuation of currency was pegged or supposed to be linked with a certain specific measures of gold. Now, for example, if you want to avail 1,000 dollar, then for this particular point of time, what you have to do, you have to provide a certain valuation of 1,000 dollar with a certain valuation with respect to gold reserve. So a gold valuing $1,000 was needed to be given, and in those particular repercussion, you will be provided a fixed exchange rate with respect to the dollar currency. These countries can either choose a single currency to peg to a basket or consisting of currencies of countries' other major trading partners. So a country can go for either for a single currency option or it can go for a basket of consisting of other countries' currencies also. So major trading partners, that is the major currency that have been traded, you can apply for that particular option also, or you can go for a single currency option also. Next, by example, third perspective is with respect to the pegged float exchange rate. Now, the pegged floating exchange rate are some bond or a certain value which is either fixed or periodically adjusted. So after you want now at this particular situation in terms of a flexible rate, what we have seen that the valuation of currency keeps on fluctuating, keeps on changing periodically, very frequently, or at a certain point of time. In terms of the fixed exchange rate system, it is always fixed for a certain duration for a certain period of time, and it is not changing at any point of time. But in terms of a pegged exchange rate system, then what happens? It is going to change. It is going to vary as per the need, as per the requirement. It is either for a fixed for a certain period or a floating for a certain period, or either it is a floating for a certain period and fixed for a certain period. So it is either fixed or periodically, and periodically it keeps on changing as per the need and requirement of market. These are a hybrid of fixed and a floating exchange rate. So it is called as a hybrid, or that is a combination of a fixed and floating exchange rate system is called as a pegged float exchange rate system. The major three types of pegged float exchange rate is crawling band. The market value of a national currency is permitted to fluctuate within a range specified by a band of fluctuations. This band is determined by international agreements or by unilateral decision by a central bank. So the bands are adjusted periodically by this country's central bank, and generally the bands are adjusted in response to the economic circumstances and indicators. So Crawling band is that particular perspective, that is with respect to the need, want, and desire and demand of this particular currency in a particular market. The government keeps on changing the valuation of a particular currency. So with respect to the international agreement, with respect to the unilateral decision, with respect to the demand and supply of the currency in the international market, the value of your currency keeps on crawling. Crawling in the sense it either increases or it either decreases. It either decreases or either increases. So in terms of your crawling system, the rates keeps on changing very frequently, and accordingly the rates are fluctuating. Now, second thing is with respect to the crawling peg. First thing we have seen with the crawling band, and now second thing is with the crawling peg. A crawling peg is an exchange rate regime, usually seen as a part of an exchange rate regime that allows gradual depreciation or appreciation in exchange rate. The system is a method to fully utilize the peg under the fixed exchange rate and so on. So here, what is at this particular point of time, what happened? There is a certain situation wherein after a certain point of time, you increase a certain rate of currency, or either you appreciate your currency or either you depreciate your currency. So in this way, the crawling peg is a particular system wherein the valuation of currency keeps on increasing or decreasing depending on your profit margin. If you want to increase the profit margin, then the value is appreciated. If the particular market forces are at a certain level that they are creating a pressures in the world market or the global market or the currency market, then the value of this currency gets depreciated. So in this way, depending on the certainties, depending on the market uncertainties or market situation or the external forces, the value of currency keeps on increasing or decreasing, whatever as per the need and requirement. So in order to meet this particular frequent requirement, there is a certain situation wherein a crawling peg system can be also be adopted, and the valuation of currency can be decided accordingly with respect to the market forces. The third system is with respect to the pegged with the horizontal bands. This system is similar to crawling bands, but the currency is allowed to fluctuate it with a larger band of a greater than 1% of the currency's value. So here at this point of time, it is quite similar to the crawling band system, wherein you have to set a certain band, a certain value, a certain proposition, and based on this certain proposition, a certain value, you are allowed to fluctuate within a larger band of a greater than 1%. So whatever may be your value of currency, whatever may be the value of your transaction, so based on this particular concern, you are allowed to increase or extend the value of a currency with respect to 1%. Your currency is, for example, 50 crores. So on 50 crores, 1% increase or 1% crawling band can be applied, and accordingly, the value of currency can be increased as per the demand and as per the niche and requirement of a particular market. So that's all for the today's lecture. Thank you so much for joining and your patience listening. Good day.